ready to rethink that trip to Greenland. This icy island might look like a dream, but it's not what you'd expect. And it's not just about the weather. Despite its beauty, there are some shocking reasons why it might not be the paradise you imagine. From hidden dangers to unexpected challenges, this is everything you need to know before packing your bags. Greenland isn't all glaciers and northern lights. Greenland's climate crisis is escalating. Let's start with the obvious. Greenland is one of the front lines of climate change. Its iconic ice sheet is melting at an alarming rate, pouring billions of tons of water into the oceans every year. Now you might be thinking, isn't this the perfect time to see it before it's gone? But that's exactly the problem. Greenland's not just melting, it's becoming wildly unpredictable. Even small shifts in temperature can have outsized impacts across the entire Arctic region and around the world. Scientists have estimated that if the Greenland ice sheet were to melt completely, it could raise global sea levels by more than 23 feet. The weather, already harsh and extreme, has grown even more chaotic. One moment, it's clear skies and stunning glaciers. The next, blizzards and thick fog roll in, making travel plans a nightmare. Flights get canceled, boats can't leave the harbor, and scenic tours are often called off last minute. You've spent thousands of dollars to see Greenland's breathtaking sights, only to find yourself stuck indoors, staring out at a white wall of snow and fog. Or worse, stranded for days in a remote area, waiting for a storm to pass. Greenland's beauty is undeniable, but the risk of severe weather ruining your experience is higher than ever. And if you're as captivated by these landscapes as we are, you might want to consider hitting that like button and joining the adventure by subscribing, so you don't miss a single breathtaking moment. Infrastructure is overwhelmed. Imagine you've booked your dream trip to Greenland, packed your bags, and flown halfway across the world, only to realize there's nowhere to stay or anything to do. That's the kind of reality you might face if you're planning to visit Greenland right now. And here's why. Greenland used to be a hidden gem, quiet, remote, and untouched by mass tourism. But thanks to social media and influencers showing off its breathtaking beauty, more and more people are rushing to visit. The problem? Greenland simply doesn't have the infrastructure to handle mass tourism. Sure, the natural beauty is breathtaking, but the lack of basic infrastructure can leave you feeling stranded and frustrated. In cities like Nuuk and Ilulissat, hotels are often fully booked months in advance, and restaurants are overcrowded with both locals and tourists. The few services available are under immense pressure, struggling to keep up with the influx of visitors. One of the biggest issues? Transportation. Greenland doesn't have railways or inland waterways, and there are almost no roads connecting its towns. If you're hoping to get around by car, think again. There's just a mere 150 kilometers, about 90 miles of roads in the entire country, and most of it is unpaved. While there are a few roads within towns and around settlements, there are absolutely no roads connecting towns to each other. That means if you want to travel from one town to another, your options are limited to either boats in the summer or dog sleds in the winter, especially in the northern and eastern parts of the island. Even worse, these few roads that do exist aren't exactly up to modern standards. The only major road project, the 170-kilometer road between Sisimiut and Kangerlussuaq, was discussed for several years. In 2015, the cost of it caused it to be replanned as a much less costly one-lane road for off-road vehicles. It was built in 2021 and 2022 at a cost of $3.45 million. This single-lane road, still under development, is more of a rugged track for off-road vehicles rather than an actual highway. Today, the main way to get around Greenland is by air, but even that comes with its own set of problems. Greenland has just 18 airstrips, only 14 of which are paved. The largest international airport, Kangerlussuaq, was built during World War II by the US military. Although it's still the main gateway to Greenland, there are very few direct flights, and travelers often have to take additional flights or helicopters to get to their destination. Though there have been efforts to improve infrastructure, such as the ongoing upgrade of Nuuk Airport, it's clear there's still a lot of work ahead. This means air travel is often limited, pricey, and prone to delays, especially in winter when weather conditions can make flights unpredictable. And to make matters more complicated, getting to Greenland isn't as straightforward as flying directly. Even though Greenland is technically part of North America, you can't fly directly there. You'll need to make stops in Copenhagen or Reykjavik before you can even think about reaching Greenland. And here's an interesting fact. Greenland's international airport isn't located in its capital. Nuuk, the capital, is about 317 kilometers from Kangerlussuaq, where the main international airport sits. The challenges here are mainly due to Greenland's rugged terrain and unpredictable weather, which makes travel a bit more complicated than most people expect. What about the potential for improvement? Well, Greenland is trying. In 2024, Nuuk Airport underwent major renovations to become the new international hub, replacing Kangerlussuaq as the main entry point. While that's a step in the right direction, it's just a tiny part of the puzzle. The country's tourism law, which came into effect in January 2024, has already sparked controversy, with some claiming that the protectionist measures, like requiring foreign businesses to partner with locals, could make sustainable tourism growth even more difficult. Now, let's talk about water transport. While Greenland does have a few ports like Ilulissat, Kangerlussuaq, Nuuk, and others, these are mostly used for freight and commercial purposes. The Royal Arctic Line and Arctic Umiaq Line manage the majority of the transportation by sea, but if you're a tourist, chances are your travel options by boat are pretty limited. Most visitors end up taking cruises to explore Greenland's coast, but this doesn't give you the freedom to explore on your own terms. And when it comes to moving around the island, water transport is not as reliable as you might hope. There are no car ferries, which means that getting your car on the island is a hassle. You'll need to transport it as cargo, which is time-consuming and expensive. Cruise ships might drop you off at a port, but after that, getting around can be a real challenge, especially if you're trying to reach places off the beaten path. Without a large road network, your options are limited to small boats or other transport methods that might not be as convenient as you'd like. The lack of a solid road network, limited air travel options, and reliance on boats for basic transportation means that Greenland's infrastructure is severely underdeveloped for a country that's trying to attract more tourists. If you're planning to visit, it's essential to prepare yourself for a lot of waiting, a lot of isolation, and very limited convenience. Greenland's ecosystem is at risk. Greenland's infrastructure isn't just limited in terms of roads and transportation, it's also struggling under the pressure of tourism. As the world's temperatures rise and ice continues to melt, the last thing Greenland needs is an influx of tourists causing further harm. With tourism set to double in the coming years, from 56,000 to 105,000 visitors, the strain on the environment is becoming more serious. The environmental effects of mass tourism are already being felt. With more people comes more pollution, litter, waste, and chemicals that could end up contaminating the land and water. Additionally, the demand for water and energy resources increases as tourists require more supplies, further stressing the already limited infrastructure. Greenland has only 56 miles of paved roads, which makes getting around difficult and can contribute to environmental damage. More people traveling to remote areas could lead to increased foot traffic on fragile ecosystems, causing soil erosion and harm to local plants and wildlife. The effects of tourism could extend beyond just physical damage. With more people visiting, the natural areas that have been untouched for centuries might begin to lose their peaceful, untouched appeal. Even the risk of wildfires, previously considered rare, has become more apparent. In 2019, a fire burned 2 square miles of land in the Kakata region, a reminder that the land is already under stress from changing climate conditions. The more tourists that visit, the greater the chance of these kinds of incidents. While tourism brings in revenue, there's a big debate among locals. The majority of Greenland's population is of Inuit origin, and many fear that an influx of tourists could erode their cultural identity and leave their land open to exploitation by foreign companies. To address these concerns, a new tourism law was proposed in 2024. The law sets strict rules for foreign investments in the tourism industry. For example, businesses wanting to operate in tourism must be registered and taxed in Greenland. Additionally, at least 2/3 of the company's capital must be owned by local Greenlanders. The goal of these rules is to make sure that the benefits of tourism stay within the local community and that Greenland's culture and land are protected. However, not everyone agrees with this approach. Some critics argue that these protectionist measures could slow down the growth of tourism infrastructure. In other words, by limiting foreign investment, it might become harder to build the necessary facilities like hotels, airports, and transportation networks that are needed to handle an increase in visitors in a sustainable way. Limited medical and emergency services. Here's something few people think about when planning a trip to Greenland. What happens if you get sick or injured? Spoiler alert, it's not like calling an Uber to the nearest hospital. Greenland's medical facilities are extremely limited, especially outside major towns. In smaller settlements, healthcare is basic at best. There are 55 healthcare stations scattered across the country, staffed by settlement healthcare workers. Ideally, these workers are trained, but in many cases, they may not have formal medical training. In the larger settlements, you might find one nurse on duty, but doctors are rare. To compensate for the lack of local specialists, most healthcare stations are equipped with telemedicine devices, allowing remote consultations with bigger hospitals or specialists. While helpful, this doesn't always provide the quick or effective care you might need. For serious emergencies, the situation becomes even trickier. If you need advanced care, you could be airlifted to a hospital in Denmark. Not only is this incredibly expensive, but it can also take hours or even days to arrange. Time that you might not have in a critical situation. And let's not forget the dangers inherent in Greenland's rugged landscape. From slipping on icy terrain to getting caught in a sudden snowstorm, the risks are real. Unless you're traveling with an experienced guide and comprehensive travel insurance, you're putting yourself in a vulnerable position. So ask yourself, is this remote Arctic adventure worth the potential risks to your health and safety? The high costs of traveling to Greenland. Let's not sugarcoat it. Greenland is one of the most expensive destinations on the planet. Flights to Greenland are limited and pricey, with most routes connecting through Denmark or Iceland. And once you arrive, prepare to shell out for everything from food to guided tours. Among Europe's already expensive destinations, Greenland sits in the top 25% for travel costs. That means if you think visiting Paris or London is expensive, Greenland might surprise you even more. Everything in Greenland, from food and accommodation to transportation, comes with a premium price tag. With its remote location, nearly everything has to be imported, and that drive costs sky high. A cup of coffee? That'll be $10. A simple meal? Try $30 or more. And those Instagram-worthy boat tours to see icebergs? Get ready to part with at least $200 for a few hours. But here's the kicker. With unpredictable weather and frequent cancellations, you might end up paying for activities you can't even enjoy. And if you're dreaming of working remotely or posting those stunning pics in real time, you might want to reconsider. The internet is pricey, slow, and only available in certain towns. So, unless you're staying close to a settlement, don't expect a smooth connection. If you're used to fast, unlimited access, Greenland's spotty service might drive you crazy. Trump's desire to buy Greenland. In recent weeks, Greenland has found itself at the center of international attention due to President-elect Donald Trump's renewed interest in acquiring the island. But why does he want to buy this vast, icy island halfway between North America and Europe? And why is it causing such a stir? To understand why Trump is so keen on Greenland, it's essential to first take a look at the island itself. Greenland, an autonomous territory of Denmark, is home to only about 56,000 people, most of whom are Inuit. The island, despite its sparsely populated nature, holds an extraordinary level of strategic importance due to its location and untapped resources. The strategic importance of Greenland. Greenland is located roughly halfway between New York and Moscow. It sits in a prime spot in the Arctic, where the United States sees both a military and economic advantage. The island offers the shortest route between North America and Europe, making it an essential military location for the U.S. With its proximity to Russia and China, Greenland offers a strategic advantage for defense, early missile warnings, and military bases. In fact, Greenland hosts a U.S. military base, Thule Air Base, which is crucial for the U.S. military's operations in the region. The base helps monitor missile activity and supports the United States global defense system. Given the increasing tension with Russia and China, it's no surprise that the U.S. would want to expand its presence in the Arctic. By controlling Greenland, the U.S. would gain a significant edge over potential adversaries in the region, allowing for greater monitoring and strategic positioning. But it's not just military strategy that attracts Trump. Greenland is also rich in natural resources, including minerals that are critical to modern technology. The island holds substantial deposits of rare earth minerals, which are essential for batteries, electronics, and high-tech industries. As the world moves toward renewable energy and electric vehicles, these minerals have become even more valuable. Trump sees Greenland's resources as a gold mine, particularly the rare earth minerals that could help fuel the U.S. economy and support its green energy transition. Trump's interest in acquiring Greenland isn't new. Back in 2019, he publicly floated the idea of buying the island, causing a political uproar. At that time, Denmark's Prime Minister, Mette Frederiksen, firmly rejected the notion, stating that Greenland is not for sale. Despite the rejection, Trump didn't give up on the idea, and it was brought back into the spotlight when he reiterated his interest in acquiring Greenland during his presidential campaign and after being elected. Why does Trump think Greenland should be part of the United States? According to Trump, the island's strategic importance for national security is undeniable. He has publicly stated that the U.S. needs to own and control Greenland to protect its interests globally, particularly when it comes to defense and geopolitics. In his mind, owning Greenland would give the U.S. a strategic upper hand in the Arctic region, providing unparalleled access to military positioning, defense systems, and surveillance. But his interest doesn't stop at military strategy. The U.S. is keen on Greenland's rich natural resources, including its vast mineral wealth. The 2023 survey of the island's critical raw materials revealed that 25 of 34 minerals deemed vital by the European Commission are found in Greenland. These minerals are crucial for the production of batteries, high-tech devices, and renewable energy technologies. In an increasingly competitive global market for these resources, Greenland's vast deposits could become a game-changer for the U.S., especially as demand for these minerals continues to rise. The idea of acquiring Greenland also ties into Trump's larger vision for American dominance on the world stage. In his mind, Greenland is not just a piece of land, it's a crucial piece of geopolitical and economic leverage. The U.S. would gain an enormous advantage in terms of military power, control over critical resources, and influence in the Arctic, all of which fit into Trump's broader vision of America first. Trump's desire to acquire Greenland has been vocalized in various ways. On Truth Social, his social media platform, he has consistently pushed the narrative that Greenland is a critical necessity for the United States, especially in the context of national security. In one post, he stated, "For purposes of national security and freedom throughout the world, the United States of America feels that the ownership and control of Greenland is an absolute necessity." When Trump first brought up the idea of buying Greenland in 2019, the response from Denmark was not welcoming. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen called the idea absurd, and Greenland's Prime Minister Mute Borup Egede quickly made it clear that Greenland belonged to the Greenlandic people, not to any foreign power. He reiterated this sentiment in response to Trump's comments, saying, "Let me repeat, Greenland belongs to the people of Greenland. Our future and fight for independence is our business." Despite the rejection, Trump continued to express his interest in Greenland. In fact, he went as far as canceling a scheduled visit to Copenhagen after Denmark rejected his offer. Fast forward to the months leading up to his son Donald Trump Jr.'s visit to Greenland, and the topic was again front and center. Donald Trump Jr.'s visit to Greenland raised a lot of eyebrows and stirred quite a bit of controversy. Ahead of his son Donald Trump Jr.'s trip to Greenland, the U.S. president-elect again posted on his Truth Social platform saying, "Greenland is an incredible place, and the people will benefit tremendously if and when it becomes part of our nation." However, Donald Trump Jr. told the media that the visit was not meant to be anything more than a simple tourist trip. However, there were immediate claims by Greenlandic officials like Pipaluk Link, a member of the Greenland Parliament, who criticized the visit as being staged. Ling suggested that the visit was designed to make it appear that the Greenlandic people were eager to be part of the United States, supporting Trump's controversial idea of purchasing the island. Ling made it clear that the people of Greenland did not want to be seen as a part of the U.S., insisting that Greenland's people desired their own independence and democracy. She expressed a strong opposition to the idea of Greenland joining the U.S. in any way, emphasizing the importance of Greenland maintaining its sovereignty and not being manipulated into this political game. Despite these accusations, a spokesperson for Trump Jr. rejected the claims, calling them ridiculous. Trump Jr. remained steadfast in his message, saying that the trip was indeed personal and that there was no underlying political agenda. Denmark, as the overseeing country, plays a crucial role in this situation. While Greenland is an autonomous territory, it remains a part of the Kingdom of Denmark. The Danish government has repeatedly made it clear that Greenland is not for sale, and it has stressed the importance of respecting Greenland's sovereignty. Denmark has also expressed concern about the potential for military intervention in the region, warning that any attempt to take Greenland by force would be a violation of international law. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen said that Greenland belongs to the Greenlanders, while its foreign minister, Lars Løkke Rasmussen, said that the island had no ambition to become a federal state in the United States. Denmark and Greenland were united in their stance that the island would remain under Greenlandic control. Greenland's Prime Minister, Mute Borup Egede, also responded strongly, especially after recent comments from Trump. He reaffirmed that Greenland belongs to its people and that the island's path to independence and self-determination is in the hands of the Greenlandic population. Egede made it clear on social media that while others, including the Danes and Americans, were entitled to their opinions, Greenland would not be swayed by outside pressure. Let me repeat, Greenland belongs to the people of Greenland. Our future and fight for independence is our business, he said on Facebook. While others, including Danes and Americans, are entitled to their opinions, but we should not be caught up in the hysteria and external pressures. The future is ours and ours to shape, he said, adding that every day is spent on working to become independent. And with that, we've come towards the end of this video. So does this mean you should never visit Greenland? Not necessarily, but now might not be the best time. Maybe give it some time. Let Greenland heal, let the infrastructure catch up, and let the environment recover. Then, when the timing is right, it'll still be there, waiting for you. Like and share, and if you're rethinking your travel plans, why not consider a destination where you can truly unwind? We recently explored a place where you can walk naked on the beaches. Yes, you heard that right. Check out our video and subscribe for more travel inspiration.